to talk a bit about the greatest things which we ever done is like people to come up with an idea of which can help you, your family, and your friends from racism and xenophobia by just identifying safe places and recommending them through the application. So we'll come each and every one for you. Before we start the meeting, I'm going to lead us in a prayer, and I'm going to pray in my indigenous language, which is Shona. So let's pray. Katina mate, chenzi mwari baba tokutenda nechipo cheupenyu chamunotipazwanisa. Tauya pamberi pechigaro chenyu Mwari, dai mungatitungamirira zvese zvatichataura pano Mwari zvigova zvakanaka. Idzingai mweya yakashata Mwari, zvese zvatinotaura Mwari baba zvigova zvinofamba kubudikidza nembiri yenyu. Panamata zvese tenzi kusamune iyo mbiri yenyu inogara isingaperi. Amen. As I was saying, we are to have our lead, our database manager, which is Yvonne, is going to lead us about the application and how it's going and how are we protecting Black people from racism and xenophobia using it. I understand that some of you haven't have the application downloaded yet. If you don't have the application, you are going to get the link in the chat room so that you can download. The application's main goal is to identify safe places near you, and then you recommend them by just liking through the application. By liking, which means you identify the place as a safe place for Black people, or it's a Black owned or a Black friendly. So we do appreciate those who downloaded the app. Let's continue identifying safe places wherever you are. You can just notify us or notify our fellow brothers and sisters through the application that the place is safe. So moving forward, after the class, after the lecture, or after the a brief description of our application, we're going to have a healthcare class with Nana Akua and the Pan-African history class with the Dr. Tyrone Wright, a professor in the City of New York University. Sorry, I was on mute. So that's what we are going to discuss on for today's meeting. And also would like to welcome those who are in their second classes here. Welcome you. So at this moment, I'm going to give this time to Yvonne to talk a bit about our application. Yes, Yvonne, you can go ahead. Yes, Yvonne, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, so you can go ahead and notify everyone about the main mission about our application and what it does. And the popular question is, what should I do when I download the application? People were asking that. And as well, notify everyone. Also, after maybe you get a description about the application, would like Dr. Elijah Nyabuti to go on and tell us about the meetup will be held soon, on how he's interacting with members and if they are responding to him or if they are not, and how far he is after you've done the description about the application. So you can go ahead.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much, Awad. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. As my brother Awad said, my name is Dushime Yvonne. in the database developer of I Love Black People. And I'm currently in Rwanda. And so today we're going to talk about more like about the I Love Black People Safe Place app. Like with this app, we'll be able to identify safe places that Black people will visit or will go to and be treated with respect and dignity. So we have to use this app effectively. Like if you see like a business and you're not sure about whether they are Black friendly or they are Black owned, or you've never been to that business before, please don't like that business. It means don't recommend that business. Instead, just keep it. Skip the business. Maybe another member, an ambassador from the same country who went to that business, they will like it, like they will approve that it's Black friendly or Black owned. If you're not sure about the business, don't like the business, because if you like the business, it means that you say that it's Black owned or Black friendly. And your fellow Black people, if they go there and you've liked the business, you say that it's Black friendly or Black owned, and they be treated not well, I hope you understand what will happen. It's not good. So we have to protect each other and recommend businesses that you're sure about that they are Black friendly. And also another thing that I wanted to talk about, and if there are questions about the app, you can maybe write them in the comment section. And those ones who are on our Facebook also, they can write their questions in the chat section. Then I'll be able to answer them. Okay, and the second thing is about invite. Like if you open the app, there is also an invite section where you can invite your friends and family to download the app. Like we know that like all over the world is 1.5 billion of Black people. Imagine that like we are like China, I think. Yes. Imagine if we are able to invite each other to download the app. It means that we have more safe places and we will be able to protect each other without waiting for someone else to come to save us or to protect us. Like, let's start using the invite section and also recommend more safe places for fellow Black people, and also invite your friends and family from different, it's not about inviting maybe your friends that you are in the same country. I'm currently in Rwanda, but I can also invite my friend from USA, from Canada, from Zimbabwe, from all over the world, that we can get more people to join us in more safe places. Oh, I can see that there are no questions here on Zoom. Let me check on Facebook. Okay, there are no more questions. Maybe let me give time to my brother Elijah. And if there is any question, I'm still on the call, I'll be able to answer them after Elijah.
Hello, Yvonne.
Yes, welcome, Elijah.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Let me proceed. I am Elijah Nyabuti from Kenya. And concerning the physical meetups which we are organizing, which will start by July. So far we have received suggestions from 7 countries. And the countries are Tanzania, Nigeria, Uganda, Ghana, Rwanda, Kenya, Sierra Leone, and Sierra Leone. And in these countries, we have been able to find the venues, and these venues were given to us by the members, by members who volunteered to be part of the organizing team. So in Nigeria, we were able to identify Elegushi Beach and Vibe Hideout, which is a restaurant. And then in Uganda, the committee members suggested we use Sheraton Hotel, which is in Kampala, 2K Restaurant and Mambo Restaurant. In Ghana, we also got a suggestion, Pedua Sek Valley Resort, PVR, which is in Accra. And in Rwanda, we got suggestion, a hotel called Obumwe Grand Hotel and the Kiga View Hotel. In Kenya, we had suggestion of Sunshine Hotel, which is in Kericho County, and Keru West Hotel. In Sierra Leone, we had Galilee's Paradise Hotel, Restaurant, and J&E Hotel and Restaurant. So these hotels are suggested by the committee members, and we are looking to find the best of the best, which will organize the meetup in each country. So far we have 8 countries, which we have been able to identify the Yvonne, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So I think I don't have much to say. So far, we are going to look at these hotels because our co-founder, Mr. Sinclair Skinner, suggested that we give the confession, the website and the picture so that we can be able to select the best hotel the best Black hotels which we can host our meeting, our physical meeting. So far to our members, I think this will be the first phase, and I believe the countries which have been able to mention are the one which we are going to start with, and we have not identified which country we will start with, so we will give this. I will give this. I will talk with the co-founder who will give us the suggestion of the hotel which we start with. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yvonne, is there any question?
No, I can't see any question.
My apologies, I was traveling, that's why I'm a bit distracted.
Okay, yes, no problem. Thank you very much, Elijah from Kenya.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Brother Elijah Nyabuti. Those who have places or who have hotels which they think we should meet up in, kindly write in the chat room so that Elijah will take note of your name so that we reach out to you through a WhatsApp. Elijah will reach out to you and communicate with Elijah. You mentioned that he still have 3 places which he needs places to meet up. So you are the ones who requested this physical meetup. So let's communicate with our brother Elijah so that he can organize the meetups which are going to be held in this coming month of June, July. So let's us speak to Elijah and make sure that we communicate well and give him the information which he requests. Also, again, we're going to have one of our moderators whose name is Rob Sminga, to just give as a 5 minutes talk. Yes, brother Robson, can you hear me?
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, thank you so much. My name, as you've heard, is Minga Robson Mogaka. First, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, depending with the time zone of your country. I'm going to just give a short speech about the app, and mainly today I will talk about invite. There's so many methods that you can use to invite someone to download the app. Since most of the people who have downloaded the app, they are giving a wonderful feedback, and they are actually saying that the app is actually amazing and very, very important, very, very key tool to protect Black people from racism and xenophobia. And due to that, it is very, very important that at least everyone who is having the app the moment in the phones, and also you should be able to invite. First one, that there are some of the links that are being shared through the WhatsApp, through the you can forward them to your friends, your family members, so that they can also have the app and also be able to recommend safe places for Black people, so that they can also be able to use safe places, visit safe places for Black people. Also, another way that we can use to invite people is through the app itself. If you have the app itself, you can also be able to invite someone. Kindly, Yvonne, am I able to share the screen?
No, you're not able.
Okay, kindly share for me so that I can talk about that invite, the direction of the invite.
Okay, let me do it.
Yeah, through this, you are able to invite someone. It's very, very simple. You just go to the app. There's an icon down there indicated invite. It's very, very simple. It is very, very simple. At least make sure you have the app. Tell people, tell your friends, tell your relatives about this application. It's very, very important, because through this application, we'll be able to protect ourselves. We'll be able to protect our family members. We'll also be able to protect our friends from racism and xenophobia, so that we can protect Black people. Black people are very, very important. As you can see in that screen, down there on your right, there's a plus sign. Then below it, there's an invite. Through this invite, when you click on the invite, you'll be able to invite somebody. You can invite through WhatsApp, through email, through Facebook, or any other. For example, when you click on that, there is that point, the link that will be given to you. You can see, you can copy the link. Kindly even go there. Good. You can copy the link at that point. Then after copying that link, you can even send to somebody as a text message. It is very, very simple. It is nothing complicated. Inviting someone is very, very important. You can also copy that link and share it through WhatsApp, through email, or through any other platform. That is the only way that you can invite people. I've said you can invite through sharing the links that we normally share through the WhatsApp groups. You can also invite somebody through the link from the app itself. You just go to the app, below the plus sign, there's that invite. You click on it, then you can copy the link and send it to somebody as a text message. You can forward that link through WhatsApp. I believe up to that point, anybody may be having a question about sharing the link, about inviting, and ask. Thank you so much, Yvonne, for sharing the screen. Thank you so much. I am Minga Robson Mogaka from Kenya. I am because we are.
I am because we are. Thank you so much, Brother Robson from Kenya, for giving us an update. So Robson and Edward, also Bugabo Flambeau, are the moderators in our WhatsApp groups. We are encouraging and taking our members and ambassadors as steps in downloading this application. So if you don't understand the application, how it goes about and how it's being used around, don't hesitate to reach out to these people who are moderating and who are posting the application in the groups. They are doing so on everyday basis because some of our members haven't downloaded the application yet. So we need this application to go viral so that we can have more safe places for Black people all over the world who are recommended by other Black people, either traveling or staying in that area. So we do appreciate each and everyone who downloaded the application. Again, welcome to those who just joined us for the first time. Again, we are going to have a healthcare lecture with Nana Akua and also the Pan-African history class with Dr. Tyrone Wright. So I want to give also a bit about the meetups which are going to be held in June and July. You are all invited. When you come to the meetup, make sure that you bring your friend or a family member so that they can get to know more about us. And in the meetups, you'll be meeting our co-founders. Mr. Sinclair will be traveling in those countries, making sure that you make sure that you meet him and also give your ideas to him and also your concerns, anything about Love Black People as far as it goes. You are also welcome to join him. So these meetups are going to share ideas. It's a meet and greet meetups. Also, we have a chance to meet other members and ambassadors. We usually did these meetups before, but due to COVID-19, we had outed them so that we get protected from the pandemic, which was affecting all the parts of the world. Again, this pandemic is still there. Please do the regulation which you have been asked by your countries to observe. Here in Zimbabwe, we're still wearing face masks wherever you are in town. If you don't have a face mask, the police will take you. So we encourage each and every people to adhere to the regulations and also to know that the COVID-19 is still among us. So we need also to be safe. Yes, about the healthcare class, I hope each and everyone is in our WhatsApp group. If you are not in any of our WhatsApp groups, kindly mention in the comment section, or you can write your number in the comment section so that we can aid you. That's where the reading materials are being shared. And also, if you want the handouts which have been shared during the lectures, you can write directly to Nana Akua, one of the lectures, to send you the handouts. They will definitely respond you with the handouts in your email addresses. So for those who are requesting about the handouts that they need them for future use, you can humbly ask Nana Akua. She can help you with the handouts. So the links for the application we've been sent in the chat room again. For those who want to download it for iOS, you can get it there. For Android as well, you can get it there in the chat room. So on Facebook, you can see by the description, there's a description with the links, you can get access to them. So when you download this application, kindly send your screenshot to the moderators. This is to notify them and also to let them know that you downloaded the application, and they can let you know about the next stages to do after downloading it. That's why they are requesting those screenshots. So kindly send the screenshots to the moderators. And also I can see people are sending their phone numbers in the group. Yes, you can send those phone numbers. You will be added in the action groups. And then later on, you will be assigned to your country groups. So we have more than 100 WhatsApp groups. In each and every country, whether in Africa, wherever it is, we have a WhatsApp groups in it. So people will be discussing various issues affecting their countries in terms of Black people. And also, I would like to make it clear that in all our social media platforms, what we post is uplifting messages about Black people and also giving just letting the Black people know about the progress of our ILoveBlackPeople.com, and we should be proud of what we have achieved so far. We didn't have the application. We were only using the website as an online digital guide. But now we are at an advanced stage whereby we are having an application which is doing the same job whereby the website was doing. So don't be, it's the first of a kind application which was ever made. So there's no application either on App Store or Google Play Store which focus on protecting Black people from racism and xenophobia. So this application is one of its a kind, and at the moment, it have many people who have downloaded it. If you check it on Google Store, especially those who use Android devices, there are a lot of people who are using the application on daily basis. Wherever you are, it can give you places near you or the very place you are in, so that you can recommend it to our fellow Black people. So it's a real-time application whereby people recommend business which are friendly. So if the business is not friendly again, don't recommend it. And people authenticate these businesses through, if 10 plus people recommend the same business, you can find that business on the where section, whereby you can search where, then you can be given a business which were recommended by a lot of people, so that you can use it if you are interested to go on and not face racism and xenophobia and that kind of business which were recommended by 10 people. I can see there was someone who was asking for the handouts. We are going to share the link to the email address for Nana Akua for you to get the handouts. So if you reach out to her, she will definitely respond and give you the handouts for the lectures about the healthcare and holistic classes. And also, a message from Adnani Comoros is saying, happy to be part of this great organization. I'm attending the meeting from my mobile phone. Connectivity is very poor as I missed the beginning of the call. Okay, so if you miss our previous calls or would like to know about what we're doing previously, our calls will be on YouTube. Again, we're going to share the link for our YouTube channel here, so that those who missed the part of our meetings and also previous meetings, they can just go there and watch them. Also on Facebook, on our main Facebook page, there is also these meetings will be also available. So don't hesitate to like our page and share our page so that we can grow. We are more than we have more than 1 million members worldwide. So at our Facebook, it's around 700K, if I'm not mistaken, members. And also we do have a private group whereby people will be discussing various issues and posting also their stories or anything they wish, which is in line with our organization of ILoveBlackPeople.com. So you need to visit our Love Black People think tank group. Again, we're going to share with everyone the link to that private group where people will be discussing various issues affecting the people globally. So don't hesitate to do so. So I'm looking forward to see each and everyone who is here to attend the meetups which are going to be held soon. Kindly note that when the meetups are held, also the refreshments will be available. So don't say, I'll die with hunger if I go there. So just idea, and also speak to Elijah Nyabuti. Elijah Nyabuti, I think you can also include your number in the chat room so that people will reach out to you directly about the meetups, the physical meetups which are going to yes, I think Elijah did post his phone number. So Elijah, you can post again your phone number so that people will reach out to you, suggesting places whereby we can meet and greet as a Love Black People family. So these meetups are going to be held in different countries. So make sure that the meetup is also held in your country by speaking to Elijah and giving the information which he does request. Yeah. So we also need these physical meetups so that we can know each other physically. Most of you, we know each other here on Zoom. Is we launched this as Zoom platform like in 2019. So some of the people who are here have been with us since 2019, 2020. Now we're in 2022. We haven't met physically. So this is a good chance for us to meet up. So Elijah, you can post your phone number again in the chat room so that people can reach out to you regarding about this application. Sorry, like I can see you did put 0. Can you kindly put the country code first so that people won't have challenges reaching out to you? So that number in the chat room is for our Elijah. These are the organizer for the meetups. So don't hesitate to reach out to him so that he can assist each and every one of you to plan about this meetup, these physical meetups. Yes, I can see Nana Akua has joined. So we can maybe we can start off the healthcare lecture. Yes, Nana Akua, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Greetings, everyone. Yay, pretty smiling faces. Kanina, Sekou, Samson. Hey, Yvonne. Kidali, Joseph. Bobby, okay, Mr. Bobby, they're the first one on my screen. Let me go back. Hey there, Mr. Bobby. Greetings, everyone. I'm scrolling through, make sure I acknowledge people who got their cameras on. Thank you very much. I appreciate you indulging me. Thanks for joining us today. So if you recall from last week, we are now on our shorter version. So last week we talked about the beginning of our nutrition and holistic wellness piece. So we're going to pick up with part 2 of that. We spoke last week about vitamins and minerals and what they do for the body, the sources of them. We talked about herbal sources of those vitamins and minerals so that if you're not taking supplements, you know where to find them through foods, through herbs. And if you are doing if you are doing supplement vitamins and minerals, be sure to have them be food-based or whole food vitamins and minerals, right? So we want even the ones that are in bottles that we're taking pills, we want them to be made from fruits and vegetables and herbs, not synthetic, okay? So today we want to focus on food combining, what to eat, how to eat it, just sort of some natural healing tips in terms of your diet. We'll talk a little bit about additives to foods, avoiding food colorings and things of that nature. We have some handouts in our presentation today about those things. And then hopefully, as always, I'll try to get to some of your questions. And if you all will allow me to share the screen, I'd like to kind of pull that up so I can scroll down to the parts that we're focusing on today. And if you're not in the WhatsApp group, you can always email me and I'll forward you the handouts that we're discussing today. Okay, I can share it, great. And I think I'll have it already pulled up, great. Okay, that was seamless. All right, so, oh, and I think it left off exactly where we were, kind of. So that's great. So I think we talked about some of just sort of the holistic principles of healing. Not sure that we talked about diets last week. So before I go into talking about food combining, let's just talk about some of the different types of diets. The one thing I'll say about diets, if you're trying to improve your health, people sometimes get too focused on what type of diet to follow or whether to diet if you're losing or attempting to lose weight, or, you know, what to eat, what not to eat. So I'll present some information to you, but I'd say don't focus so much on trying to follow a particular diet. A lot of times people will get into, well, I'd like to cut out meat, or I want to be a vegetarian. But I'll say each diet has its own challenges, because over the years when I was consulting and assisting people specifically with their health, there were a lot of vegans or vegetarians, whereas they could avoid meat or flesh, but then they usually would have issues as a result of eating too many sugary foods or sweets or carbohydrates or starches. So with every type of diet, there is a challenge. So I always say, don't focus on just trying to be vegetarian. Focus on being as healthy as possible, learning what foods don't work for you, and even the foods you know aren't the best, if you're doing them. You know, some people argue as to whether moderation is a thing. I do think moderation is a thing, because we know that trying to, oh, I'll never have a soda again, or I'll never have a piece of bread again, it's just not realistic for most people. So I do think moderation is a thing. I do think moderation can be helpful. I think that it is such a thing of limiting how much you consume of those foods that you know are not the best for you. So if you don't follow a strict diet and you simply say, hey, I'm going to cut down on my portions, or I'm going to cut down on sugary drinks, whether it's juices or sodas or teas or what have you. Sometimes it's just a matter of, okay, I don't drink sodas, but I drink up all the juice in the world. Well, then you'll still have a blood sugar issue, because fruits will still have natural sugars that can still elevate your blood sugar. So, or I don't drink soda, but I drink tea. With tea, any tea you buy, and even teas that you'll make at home, you're going to add some kind of sugar or sweetener to it. So it's all a matter of evaluating for yourself what your diet consists of, and what things you know you kind of either need to cut out completely, or what things you need to limit or restrict. Hence the word or the term moderation. So let's go over a couple of these diet choices that are listed here in the handout. So we know that there is something called a raw food diet. And pretty much this is a diet where all of the foods are either raw or cooked on very low temperatures, no more than I think 115 degrees or so. And so you're primarily, of course, doing fruits and vegetables, juicing, herbal drinks, things of that nature. A lot of people support this type of diet. This is great if you have bloating, or if you want to lose weight, or if you suffer from migraines. Usually you'll get plenty of energy from this type of diet. Another type of vegetarian type of diet, or food-based or vegetable and fruit type of diet, is juicing, or a juice fast. So some people will do this every season. Some people will do a juice fast every week. It's kind of free for you to incorporate how you see fit, but this is focusing on eliminating solid foods or solid meals and replacing them with fresh fruit or vegetable juices. And we'll get into this right after talking about these diets. We'll talk about food combining, but as we're talking about juicing, let me just point out when say an old school holistic healer is referring to juicing, we're not typically talking about adding all fruits and vegetables together. How I was traditionally and originally taught a couple of decades ago is that there are certain fruits and you keep those fruits within that category. And then there's certain types of vegetables and you keep those all together. And generally they do not mix well for proper digestion. So you would not combine any and every fruit and vegetable in a juice either. Okay. And we know that if we're juicing, we're getting the whole food. We know that all of the fruits will contain different vitamins and minerals, as we discussed last week. We know that all the vegetables will have certain minerals mainly, and some vegetables. And so this type of diet gives you all of the nutrition that your body will likely need. So this is going to help you give your digestive system a rest, because it's not having to activate all of its forces to digest all of these solid foods and these different combinations of foods, different types of foods. Juicing allows the digestive system a chance to rest, and it allows the body to just get optimal nutrition because you're doing just fruits and vegetables. And again, how often you do it or how frequently you do it when doing a fast, completely up to you. Some people also will just simply add a juice to your regular meal. So that's just to give extra nutrition. So you may simply eat a regular full, solid meal, and just add a freshly squeezed juice to it. Okay, so that's also an option. It doesn't have to be a fast where you're eliminating any solid foods. So a couple of options there. In terms of an alkaline diet, you see listed here, we know that we always want to keep the body in perfect pH. There are all kinds of situations that the body can go through when the pH balance changes. Women know this all too well. A lot of times men don't have to deal with this as much, but the pH change will be evident in within the reproductive system, we'll say, right? And so a female will have certain experiences with pH changes. But even in men and women, we know that if you have a predominantly acidic diet, you'll have more dehydrated symptoms like stiffness, inflammation. Everything is hardened, everything is stiff, everything is hard to move. So you may have joint pains or arthritis pains, things of that nature. So it can affect you in many, many different ways being out of pH balance. So we know that we want a predominantly alkaline diet. So those who follow an alkaline diet will drink alkaline water. You'll follow the foods that are on that side of the scale. And I have that in one of the, that may be in this. Oh yeah, so we will get to that. So that'll be one of the forthcoming slides where we'll talk about what's in the acidic category and what's in the alkaline category. But if you're following the alkaline diet, you're strictly following those foods that are alkaline forming foods. And there are many, many benefits to that. And then there's the macrobiotic diet. This is mainly a vegetarian-based diet, but it includes some grains and other things like that. They have really strict, and the Global Green Book, the section on health, gives a more detailed explanation of the macrobiotic diet. They have restrictions as to when to eat, how to eat, out of what types of containers and pots, how the food is prepared at what times of the day. So it can be very strict, but it's more so a way of life as opposed to just a diet and just what you eat. So definitely you can get more information from that from our Global Green Book. And you can also Google and get some more information on that as well. But it focuses on the whole yin and yang concept and making sure that there's a balance. I'm going to skip over this Gershon diet. This just sort of combines some other things, the juicing, supplementation, vegetarian eating, and that sort of thing. So let's scroll down. So here the chart on acid, neutral, and alkaline foods. So we know that some of the higher alkaline foods are avocados, beets, carrots, potatoes, spinach, rhubarb. Dried fruit is listed here. This is my cautionary note on dried fruit. If you are having blood sugar issues, if you're prone to sweets and you're having an issue with that, dried fruits are not going to be your best option because in the drying process, sugar is added. So that's not something you're going to want to add to your, snack meals and such. And then, of course, not as alkaline are all of the numerous fruits and vegetables listed here. Your apricots, your apples, your figs, your lemons, your limes, your raspberries, cabbage, celery, root vegetables, all of these things. So they're not considered on the high category, but these are still alkaline foods. In reverse, the highly acidic foods are things like eggs and mayonnaise, certain fish, bacon, beef, chicken. So the easiest way to kind of know what's acid and what's alkaline is most of your meats and oils and dairy things are going to be on the side of acid forming foods, and most of your vegetables and fruits are on the side of the alkaline forming foods. Okay, so now to food combining. So it's important what you eat, but just as important as what you eat is how you eat it. Okay. Most of us have been raised to believe that meat and potatoes go together, right? But we know that proteins, your meat, and potatoes, your starch, is a poor food combination. And most of us, of course, do it, right? That's how we were raised. Our mouths have been, our brains have been programmed or trained to feel like I have to have a protein and a starch together. But important to note is, especially if you have digestive issues, you will have to retrain yourself and really learn how to combine your foods differently. So if you're having a protein, ideally you will combine that with a vegetable. If you are having starches, you want to combine those with vegetables. And even when I mentioned the fruits earlier, we know that fruits even fall into various categories. There are acidic fruits, there are subacidic fruits, and then there are sweet fruits. They don't combine or mix well either. So typically all of your acidic fruits, you want to combine and mix those together and eat those together. All your sweet fruits, you want to eat those together, right? And I'm not sure if melons is on here, but typically we also know that melons, watermelon, cantaloupe, honeydew, typically should just be eaten alone or separate from other fruits and other foods as well. Now, because we know, and I am a watermelon lover, I think I haven't in the last couple of years eaten as much as I usually do, but because it's also considered a high glycemic food that we'll talk about in week 3, we know that to lower your glycemic load, you can combine it with a fiber, right? To kind of help slow down that elevation of blood sugar. So if, for example, I add my watermelon with a handful of almonds or walnuts or something that's high in fiber, that can help to lower that glycemic load, even though it's a high glycemic food. That's one way of kind of still consuming it and not doing too much damage to your body and your digestive tract, okay? So what we eat is important. Also is important is how we eat it. So the summary is here. Good combinations are proteins and leafy vegetables, starches and vegetables. Poor combinations, proteins and acidic fruits, leafy vegetables and acidic fruits, leafy greens and subacidic fruits. And we know bad combinations, right? Good, poor, bad. The worst category we know is protein and starches, oils and proteins, and starches and fruits, okay? So moving right along. So I wanted to give you, as I said earlier, it's not always important that you follow a strict diet, but I think if you implement just some basic eating principles or healthy eating principles, I think you'll do well. So this chart I found from Elson Haas, H-A-A-S. He's a medical doctor, but apparently has switched over into holistic health, and he's written a couple of books. One is The Detox Diet, a couple of others. I think some of these handouts I pulled from that particular book, the Detox Diet book. So he lists here just some elements of healthy eating. So we know that we want to do whole foods, right? As fresh, as whole, unprocessed, unmanipulated as possible. So getting your fruits, vegetables, whole grains, your vegetable proteins from legumes, nuts, seeds, this is going to be your best option, as opposed to things that have been processed and packaged and sat on the shelf. So as fresh as possible. If you can't do fresh vegetables, frozen are going to be a better option than canned, right? We know that we want to eat high quality foods. I am a thrifty person. I'm very frugal. However, I don't skip on my food. I love even the dollar store. And if you're not in the US, you all might not be familiar with dollar stores, but you know, they have these really cheap stores where you can buy anything, right? And it's $1, or you even have offshoots of it like dollar buys or whatever, or 5 and below, like these little low cost stores. And they pretty much sell a little bit of everything. So now Dollar Tree is the company that has even included food and vitamins and other things in it, all of which are $1 a piece. So while I may love to go buy my gift bags or my wrapping paper or my Scotch tape or office supplies or I don't know, glasses, dishes, you know, cups, I do not go there to buy my food. Even if they have a whole pack of whatever, cheese, lunch meat, bread, whatever, for $1, I'm not buying it from there, right? So you want high quality food. And it doesn't necessarily always mean that you pay more for it and it's better, but the chances of you getting a high quality food and they're reselling it for $1, which means they probably only paid 10, 20 cents for it, you're not getting the most nutritious foods. These are going to be foods that are what this next item is saying to reduce. It is going to have refined sugars. It's going to have artificial sugars. It's going to have the bad fats and oils in it. It's going to have food colors. It's going to have other additives, right? And so what we know is we want to avoid all of these things in our foods. We want to read labels. We want to make sure we're not getting hydrogenated oils. We want to make sure we're not getting monosodium glutamate or MSG. We want to make sure we're not getting high fructose corn syrup. We want to make sure we're not getting yellow lake number 5 or yellow lake number 6 or red dye number 40, right? So we want to read labels and we want high quality foods. Drink no more than 4 ounces of liquids with your meals. We know that this dilutes the digestive juices in our bodies. So we know that drinking too much is going to interfere with the body's natural digestive process, okay? So restrict it to 4 ounces with your meals and wait an hour or so if you want to drink a full 10, 12, 16 ounce of something. But do that high volume drinking in between your meals, not with your meals. We want to chew our food very thoroughly. I kind of eat, I eat fast. So that's something I'm even working on. But slow down, eat slow, eat very consciously, chew your food well and thorough. And never eat when you're really upset. This also, the emotional impact on digestion is a big one. So make sure that you're in a relaxed environment and you're not having any extreme emotion. This will interfere with digestion. Make sure that you're eating sufficient amounts of fiber. This is important. We know that things like flax seeds, psyllium seed husk, these are fiber-rich foods. We know that we can take them in supplementation form. We can add them to smoothies, cereals, salads, what have you. And then, of course, with those things, you have to drink sufficient water because we know that as these fiber-rich foods bulk up the waste in the body, the water has to come through and wash and cleanse it out of the body so that it doesn't kind of reabsorb all the waste that is collected together. We then have to flush it and cleanse it out of the body. 6 to 8 glasses of water a day. That's one of those kind of general things. A more specific way of knowing how much water to take in is half your weight in ounces. And I usually kind of cut that off at 200 pounds. If you're over 200 pounds, if you're drinking at least 100 ounces of water a day, that's sufficient. So I think that's a little more specific than just your standard 6 to 8 glasses of water. And know that this can include herbal teas, but this is not going to be your bottled herbal teas with all of your sweeteners and sugars in it. If you're making an herbal tea yourself and you've not added other sugar or added sugars to it at all, that's going to be what we can include in our water intake. However, if it's a bottled tea that has some other additives and sweeteners and things, this is not going to be part of your water intake. Take supplements when necessary, especially if you're having digestive issues. There are all types of enzymes, digestive enzymes, pancreatic enzymes, hydrochloric acid, digestive aids that will help with your body's digestion. If you know you eat too much meat, if you know that you eat proteins and starches together, if you know you drink a whole lot of juice, water, Kool-Aid, whatever with your meals, and that there's possibly some kind of digestive problem, then taking some type of digestive aid is going to be a good option for you as you start to change how you combine your foods and some of these other principles. Of course, we know, here's the word moderation again, and certainly some things we should avoid altogether, but at the very least, moderate use of alcohol, caffeine, nicotine, even over-the-counter drugs, even prescription drugs, recreational drugs. These things we know wreak havoc on the body, specifically the liver. If we can do away with these things altogether, that's our goal. But as we are cutting down and doing these things, moderation will be the key until we are at elimination. Exercise, you have to move the body. Flexibility is important. Strength training is important. Endurance is important. So whatever strength training or endurance training, cardiovascular training, these are all good. But even if it's yoga or Tai Chi, if it's meditative, slow moving exercise, that's also moving the body. So that's also good. But we have to do some form of exercise every day. Even if it's basic, what we used to call calisthenics. So even if it's just stretching, if it's jumping jacks, if it's, you know, crunches, curls, lunges, whatever, right? And then of course, the last on this list, which is important and absolutely essential to good health, proper elimination, right? So diet is important, exercise is important, regulating your stress is important. However, if you do not move your bowels and you do not get that waste out of your body, you are toxic and your body will be a breeding ground for disease. So bowel movements every day is essential. There's no way around it. There is no normal outside of this. Doesn't matter if for 10 years you've only gone to the bathroom once a week, that is still not normal, that is toxic. You have to do right away whatever you can to get your bowels moving every day. And if it's at least once a day, great. But if it's 2 or 3 times a day, even better. We know that there are certain herbs that will help move the bowels, that will act as laxatives. Aloe vera juice is a mild laxative. We know there are certain stimulant herbs like Cascara sagrada, senna, that will move the bowels. We have other colon cleansing herbs that are not as strong as, say, a Cascara or a senna, like turkey rhubarb or slippery elm. These are all good colon cleansing herbs, but, and of course, drinking water. We know that our low glycemic fruits that are full of pectin, what we call fruit fiber, like your grapefruit, your apples, your pears, your plums, even grapes, all of these are also good for increasing the fiber in your body and allowing your bowels to move and get regulated. So this handout is on, and it's really cute, right? The colors we're dying for, right? And we are truly dying. These are the different food color additives that are found in different foods and the havoc it wreaks on the body, right? So red 40, this is linked to hyperactivity and various types of cancers. Red 3, cancers, chromosomal damage. Yellow 5 and 6, I mentioned earlier, chromosomal damage, hyperactivity, adrenal gland tumors. Green 3 linked to bladder and testes tumors. Blue 4, hyperactivity, kidney tumors, asthma. Blue 2, hyperactivity, brain and bladder tumors. So most of these have some link to some type of cancer, right? Because we know that these these tumors that they're finding on these different parts of the body cause from these food colors. Of course, wouldn't be an issue if they're benign tumors, right? We know that they are leading up to different types of cancer in the body. So we know that these foods that are full of these bright colors, we need to avoid. And unfortunately, children's foods or foods that we typically will feed our children are full of colors, which I think is ridiculous. But there's no reason that certain foods need to be a certain color. And so we've sort of been adequately brainwashed to thinking that certain things have to have certain colors. So read your labels, avoid all of these food colors. What you want is foods that are colored with natural things. So if you go to a health food store and you read a label of something that has an orange or red color, for example, it's going to be naturally colored with beets, right? Or something with a yellowish color. It's going to be naturally colored with turmeric. So there are different natural food colors that can be used, okay? And if you have to spend a few more coins on it, it's worth it. This handout I threw in here, I thought this was interesting to take note, especially as some people have problems getting enough water into the diet. These are hydrating foods. So it's giving you the very high percentages of water that these foods contain. So watermelon, most people know, is mainly water. So it's 96%, but probably surprising is all of the other ones, right? So all of these others have really high percentages of water. Pineapple, melons, tomatoes, blueberries, pears, grapefruit, celery, lettuce, cucumbers. All of these can be really hydrating. And of course, we know if it can be hydrating, we know that they can be cooling. So in the summer months when it's hot, these are foods that you should probably consume more of while you're out and about, or if you know you have to be out in the sun. These are going to be more suitable foods for high temperatures. Okay, so put these in little Ziploc bags or a little container or something. You know, keep them in the fridge or in a cooler so that you can kind of keep them cool and take with you. Include these in your lunch. But these are hydrating foods that are worth adding to your diet. And then this last handout, I think this is the last handout. This just gives you an indication of how you're doing with your diet. So this is a diet check questionnaire, and you'll add up the points. You'll have this little score key at the end. That'll kind of tell you if you need to put more emphasis on your diet. Most of us already will know this, right? But this sort of gives you a definitive look at that. Okay, so let's see what questions or comments we might have. Yeah, okay, so the first one I saw, I think it's from Zoe. Yes, and changing up with the seasons, that's an excellent option. We often, and there are some people that support that whole eating with the seasons anyway, and that makes perfect sense. It's a good idea to eat what is available during that season. And so if you need to make changes as to what you consume based on its availability, I mean, yeah, that's a given. That is definitely, and I'm glad you pointed that out. So thank you for that. Yeah, so yeah, it would be nice if we knew how to, I don't know how to make it available as a download. I only know that I can forward it to you if you need the handout that we're talking about. And I don't know if Award is able maybe to put in there for me my email, because I'll gladly forward that. Excuse me. So let me see if there are other questions. All right, so I don't know if, I think that's it because I can't scroll up anymore. Okay, I think I got all of the questions and I have just a couple minutes left. So, so next week we will break up the herbal lesson. We'll talk about herbs. And so in part one for next week, we'll talk about herbs from the Americas, from West and South Africa, and that's only because those are the areas that I was able to find sort of easy handouts on. If those of you in other parts of the continent can kind of forward to me or point out some herbs that are used in your areas, I'd be happy to share that and learn about that. And then we'll talk about some natural herbal pain relievers and things of that nature. And then part two, which will be week after next, we'll talk about the homeopathic remedies, essential oils. I think, I don't know if we put, yeah, we put superfoods in that part. So look forward for your reading materials in the WhatsApp group. I'll send them all at once, probably on Monday or Tuesday. And then whatever additional handouts I'll send throughout the week. But next week, be sure to join me again. We'll talk about herbs from different parts of the planet. And any questions you have, kind of be ready. I'd love to get the questions. If I can answer or point you in the right direction of something, feel free to email me. I don't, however, do like really intricate questions about how to address a particular issue. But if you just need something for informational purposes, or I can point you in the direction of something, I'll be happy to do that. So appreciate you. Thanks for joining me today. And as always, I bid you good health and peace.
Yes, thank you very much, Nana Akua, for a good healthcare class. I think we learned a lot from you. And see you next week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend too.
Thank you.
Yes, up next, we are going to have, yes, Award.
Yes, I was saying, I was on mute, sorry. So up next, we're going to have our Pan-African history lecture, Hydrating Right. I don't think Dr. Wright, is she on the call now?
Not yet, but she's going to join.
All right. So for those who wanted to have the handouts, can you check out the email nanaakua1@gmail.com. You can reach out to her for handouts if you're not in our WhatsApp group. Again, if you want to be added into one of our WhatsApp groups, can you drop your number in the chat room? We'll join you later on after this Zoom meeting. So kind of drop your phone number and name so that you can be able to have you. And also, if you're not an ambassador, drop your number, name, and email address. We can add you to our nation so that you can receive emails from us. Yeah, for those who want the handouts, I did drop the email address for Nana Akua for you to request for handouts and PDFs. You can reach out to her. It's nanaakua1@gmail.com. Yeah, so whilst we're waiting for our professor to join, let's do that. Let's write our phone numbers and our names in the chat room so that we can add you into our WhatsApp groups. And also, when we add you into the WhatsApp groups, we will share with you the links to invite your friends and family who are interested to learn more about the Pan-Africanism so that they can join and learn for free. And again, I'm moving forward for our certificates for the Pan-African certificates and certificates that are going to be they're not going to be for free. So you need to acquire them through signing up through the certificate page, and it's going to be shared to each and every one of you who are interested to be our new certificates, which are not going to be shared for free like we have been doing before. So moving forward, after these lectures, we will receive the certificates only for those who pay them through their Visa cards. So a link is going to be shared to you so that you can get hold of that certificate. I'm checking if I can see some phone numbers and some emails. I can see Hanif send his email address. Yes, Hanif, if you're not one of our members, I'm going to register you to our nation so that you can receive emails from us. And also for those who are on Facebook, if you'd like to join us through WhatsApp, kindly drop your number in the comment section so that you can have access to your phone number. Then we add it on our WhatsApp groups. So feel free to send your phone numbers, or even you can join through the links which you share on Facebook. You can join through that as well. Yeah. So let me introduce the professor before she comes. Her name is Dr. Tyreen Wright. She teaches at the City of New York University. And also she has been with us for the past 2 years teaching the Pan-African history class. And she's the author of the book, which is called The Making of the Pan-Africanist, Booker T. Washington. Let me show you the book. This is the book she wrote. So if you want to get in touch with this book, I'll share the link for the website so that we can get it. She wrote this book, Booker T and Washington, The Making of the Pan-Africanist. So the book is about Washington evolution as a Pan-Africanist and a clandestine role in African affairs. The book takes a rare look into Booker T. Washington private life, affairs through his personal papers. The many consider the iconic accommodationist, Pacific and Anglo-Tome, the clandestine life as a very progressive Pan-Africanist who wielded a measurable power in the realm of the African affairs. So we are very blessed that we learn this content of our book for free. Whilst other people are getting hold of it through paying, but due to the fact that the author of the book is the one who leads this class, so we do get we do learn this book for free. So the author, whose name is Dr. Chinese Wright, is the author of the Booker T. Washington in Africa, The Making of Pan-Africanist. Dr. Wright is a scholar, publisher, poet, and activist. Locally, she is a producer and co-host of Afrobeat Radio on WAI New York, a public affairs program that presents African perspectives on global issues. Dr. Wright teaches for the Center of Ethnic Studies at the City of New York University. That's where Dr. Wright teaches. And she leads us this class with the Pan-African history class, and go in deeper details about Pan-Africanism and studying about Booker T. Washington and all the other things. So I think if one is trying to get in touch with Dr. Wright so that she can lead us into the Pan-African history lecture. Yes, Yvonne, did you get in touch with Dr. Wright?
Yes, she's joining right now the call.
All right, thank you.
She
So
was
the
having
lecture is
trouble
going, it will go for 30 minutes. So moving forward, our lectures used to go for 1 hour, but due to other people concerned about data issues in Africa, we decided that lectures can last only 30 minutes each. So that's why our lecture lasted for 30 minutes again. So the Pan-African history lecture will also last for 30 minutes. Yes, I can see Dr. Wright has joined the meeting. Yes, Dr. Tyrone Wright, can you hear me?
Oh, hello, everyone. I apologize for my tardiness. I'm actually not home today, but nonetheless, I will be sharing documents because I had a little glitch in terms of sharing that this week, and I will do that. So welcome again. I'm trying to get adjusted to the new order of things. And what I'm going to do is share in real time the information, and then we can discuss, and I won't take up the group's time in terms of doing it during session per se. So welcome everyone. I hope you're doing okay this Saturday morning. First things first, what I'm about to share is a document, which is the first chapter of our readings. I shared a book that we're going to be using, and I'll be just sharing one chapter from that book for the context of the course inside the group, okay? And then I will be sharing the other relevant information for the course. That being said, as I was getting on today, I could hear, I wasn't watching the news, but I could hear the news. And one of the things that stuck out to me as I was listening to the news here from within the state was the fact that right now they have made arrangements for Ukrainian refugees to come into the United States. And I thought that was very interesting because of the simple fact that as they come into the United States, one of the things that we're being told is that the regular civilian, the regular US citizen can support without lineage, blood lineage, we can support a Ukrainian refugee and give them a place to live, a place to stay. And I thought that that was very interesting, primarily because of the simple fact that you could not do that with any other refugee, certainly not from the African world. Okay, so I thought about the fact that there is a worldwide European alliance, even though the Russians and Ukrainians have an ethnic dispute, right? Because that is precisely what that is. It is an ethnic dispute between the groups. That being said, the rest of the Western world has stepped in and is providing assistance to Ukraine. And if we were to talk about pan anything, very interestingly enough, I would describe that as very pan-European, if you will, simply because of the fact that you have this universal response to the issue. What I'm about to share is the syllabus that you have not gotten, and you should have just saw it go into your course. And I'm going to share, if you give me permission to show my screen, I'm going to share that, and then I'll be sharing the first chapter, which is on the history of Pan-Africanism. Okay. Okay. Uh-oh, hold on. Okay, here we go. So this just went into your course, into your WhatsApp group. And I believe the dates still are not correct. Yeah, where it's ahead of by a month. So I'll change those. But this is the syllabus that describes this course. And the course description is an introduction to Pan-African history and organizing. It's an ideologically development course that surveys the history of Pan-Africanism as a theory and practice. The seminar is structurally designed to examine and engage in a critical analysis of the theories and practices of Pan-Africanism as both a political and ideological impetus for organizing African and Black people globally. The course begins with the historical foundations of Pan-Africanism, and that's what this chapter that you'll be reading is all about. It begins with the historical foundations of Pan-Africanism at the turn of the 20th century, while it is simply a budding concept in the African diaspora and the Americas. It becomes the impetus for international organizing in Europe, the first Pan-African conference, and the Americas. It finds its highest expression on the African continent in liberation and revolutionary struggles against imperialism and with the objective of continental unity. So in other words, Pan-Africanism is born out of the international community, specifically the diaspora, but it finds its highest expression on the African continent, not just as Pan-Africanism expressed within national borders that were created by colonialists, but as an independent African nation, as independent African nations expressing continental unity. And so we know that some of you may already know that's where Nkrumah comes in at, right? And some of the many Pan-Africanists on the continent, Nkrumah, Lumumba, Cabral, and others. And yes, even Robert Mugabe would be considered amongst those Pan-Africanists on the continent at that time that would express a desire for continental unity. And we know that there's some roadblocks in the way with regard to that today. However, that was the ideal, and we must have a vision of where we're going. So the course simply begins with the historical foundations of Pan-Africanism at the turn of the 20th century. While it is simply a budding concept in the African diaspora in Americas, it becomes the impetus for international organizing in Europe, the first Pan-African Conference, 1900, and in the Americas. It finds its highest expression on the African continent in liberation and revolutionary struggles against imperialism with the objective of continental unity. Many have courses produced by Pan-Africanism. This course explores this idea and qualified practice and production of Pan-Africanism, considering social, political, economic, and material for African and Black people globally by examining policy cases, conference resolutions, and various approaches employed by early proponents of Pan-Africanism, African nationalist organizational bodies, and institutions. So some of the learning outcomes, and I'm just going to skip around to some of them, you can read them on your own. Learning outcomes, a working definition of Pan-Africanism is one of the things you can expect to learn, and you're going to learn that from the gate with this first chapter. Knowledge of its specific history, development, and emergence as an ideology, theory, and practice in the world, okay? The ability to identify and qualify Pan-Africanist thought, speech, and action across technological mediums, social media platforms, virtual realities, and brick and mortar spaces. In other words, this course should sort of hone in on allowing you to identify or eliminate something that's Pan-Africanist in nature. One of the distinct characteristics of Pan-Africanism is the idea that it is certainly to the benefit, whatever it is, to the benefit of African people, not to the disadvantage of our people, okay? The ability to qualify whether policies, legislation, organization, initiatives, and general practices are Pan-Africanist in nature and beneficial to African and Black people. The ability to identify imperialism, colonialism, and neocolonialism as oppressive and exploitive systems as they have manifested throughout the African world, Africa and its diaspora, right? The means and methods through which African and Black people have organized, fought, resisted, and liberated themselves and nations from imperialism, colonialism, and the ways in which neocolonialism is currently being resisted. The role of Pan-Africanism as a primary strategy and tactic in the effort to eliminate racism and xenophobia. The ability to differentiate multiple perspectives through an analysis of different case studies built on measured evidence-based arguments and research essays. The point of it all about Pan-Africanism is that, like I've said to the classes before you, if we get together and do something and it actually produces nothing for African people, for Black people that is substantial and measurable, right? Then it is not Pan-Africanism. We get very confused with the definition of Pan-Africanism. It is unity for the purpose of eradicating oppression and exploitation of African and Black people everywhere we are. It is, and those are things that are beneficial to us, okay? Just coming together and not addressing our condition is not Pan-Africanist. Just because I'm from the States, one person's from the Caribbean, somebody else is from the continent, that does not make it Pan-Africanist. Okay, which is hilarious because I've seen that, and I see the commentary on social media and and in, debates that are going on now around, various groups of ethnic groups of African people, where we have a conversation about, oh, well, what has Pan-Africanism done for us? It hasn't done anything for us. Well, the stuff that hasn't done anything for you is not Pan-Africanist in nature. It should be qualified Pan-Africanism, right? Because the implication is that it is action. There is action attached to it. So the inaction that is attached to so many gatherings of Black people and African people, that's not Pan-Africanism. It's just something Black. We just got together. Okay, and so I think that's one of the key things that you always should keep in mind as you qualify things across social media platforms. The question always is, what did it produce in light of our condition and to our benefit? How did it alleviate our oppression? How did it eradicate or help to eradicate our exploitative circumstances? If it did neither of those Pan-Africanists, and you can simply inform those who declare that Pan-Africanism hasn't done anything for us, that the thing that hasn't done anything for us is not Pan-Africanist, because what Pan-Africanism does is give substantial gains to us in the areas in which we are exploited and oppressed, okay? You'll see that definition in this historical chapter that I'm going to be posting as we speak. The ability to apply knowledge. This is number 8, the ability to apply knowledge acquired in this seminar to the active role and responsibility as ambassadors of I Love Black People, and I should say members too, in eradicating racism, and xenophobia. The ability to qualify, again, everything before declaring it substantial or beneficial to African and Black people locally and globally. And then finally, number 10, develop a measurable results orientation regarding business practices, services, policy, and political agendas, legislative initiatives, organizational efforts, and institutional practices. In other words, what I already just said, which is that you should be able to weigh and measure, right? Whatever it is, or whomever it is, has done for us, if they're declaring that they are in fact Pan-Africanist, and what they've done is Pan-Africanist in nature, right? Pan-Africanism doesn't leave our hands empty. Okay? If our hands are empty, then that was not Pan-Africanism. Very simple. That's how you should think about it. Okay? And if your hands are not moving, then it is not Pan-Africanist in nature. So when you say that you are engaged in a Pan-Africanist endeavor, you should determine that, or you should base that off of one simple characteristic or qualifying aspect, which is, are you in motion? Are you active? Are you producing something to that end, right? Pan-Africanism is backed by action, produces action. Right? And you can look at it as an ideology because it's both theory, right? That we are organized for African people to the benefit of African people. And it's coupled with action. And the very definition of ideology is theory coupled with action, right? So understanding, a concrete understanding, theoretical view or belief, and carrying out practice. That is what is definitive of Pan-Africanism. And so, those are some of the ways in which we qualify Pan-Africanism. Now, the last one, yeah, okay, I did the last one, right? So these are some of the seminar themes, and we won't get to all of them because things have been shortened, and I'm still trying to find out how we're going to involve everyone who is participating in the action aspect. One of the ways is that we're supposed to, in the context of this course, download the app and begin, but I need to talk to admin. I was trying to get some support with that. So when we get off later on in the week, I need to talk to Yvonne or whomever so I can get some assistance in the group instruction on how we're going to all participate in doing what we do in the context of I Love Black People. In other words, what we're going to do is love our people with action through this organization, which allows us and affords us the ability to do a number of things for African and Black people that will secure safe spaces for us in the world, right? And what does it produce for us? It gives us the freedom. The measurable result is the freedom to move around the world without the fear of harm or the fear of losing our lives, quite frankly, right? So that is the measurable gain we get in this instance. But let's get to the seminar themes. The seminar themes are Pan-Africanism, unity as the primary organizing tool, weapon, strategy for eradicating racism and xenophobia against African and Black people. The historical role, importance, and use of dialectical conversing, discourse sharing, relationship between African and Black people globally as an effective strategy and tactic in combating white supremacy, racism, and xenophobia, which is a global pandemic. Let me say this, that is one of the things that is also in the tradition. One of the aspects of the course that you will see is that when we cover the history in the chapter you'll be reading right now, you'll see that there has been a long history of this kind of organizing amongst us. Okay, the organizing that we have done of African people worldwide, right? Because that's sort of what the Pan-African Congresses are, and the Pan-African Conference that began it all was organizing of African people around this purpose of securing our welfare in the world and alleviating oppression and exploitation. That is a tradition. It's a more than 100+ year tradition. 1900, first Pan-African Conference. We are organizing from all over the world, everywhere we are, coming together to strategize around this very issue. So when we talked about the dialectical, or talk about a dialectical relationship, meaning a back and forth kind of relationship where we are conversing about our condition and coming together to strategize, that is a tradition that has been well established over the last 100 years. And so when you're doing this work in I Love Black People, part of what you'll learn in this course is about that tradition that we have been engaged in since we have dealt with colonialism, imperialism, white supremacy and culture, racism, and xenophobia. Okay, we have always, we have for a long time, I'll say, been in motion to organize ourselves around these issues. And that history of organizing ourselves around these issues has been dialectical, right? Back and forth. And it has become a tradition. So we are not looking to recreate that tradition. We are going to build on that tradition. The difference with you all in the context of this organization is simply using technology to leveraging technology to address the contemporary aspects of racism and xenophobia, right? So the only difference is that we have technology at our disposal. We are still in conversation. Some of you are on the continent, some of you are all over the United States. I'm in the United States, some of you could be in the UK, but we are in conversation right now, right? And so that's one aspect. but also we are building on something that is 100-plus-year-old tradition, okay? Synthesizing, hold on, okay. Synthesizing and application of Pan-African thought, speech, and action in everyday scenarios and challenges is 3. The role of education, specifically history, in eliminating ignorance, divisiveness, propaganda, and individualism amongst African and Black people in an effort to achieve Pan-Africanism, unity. And finally, global Pan-Africanism, the unification of African people for the purpose of eradicating exploitation and oppression, racism, is a direct solution to the condition of African and Black people. I feel like I skipped number 2. Okay, maybe I didn't, but I'm going to say it over again because it's important enough. The historical role, importance, and use of the dialectical conversing, discourse sharing relationship between African and Black people globally as an effective strategy and tactic in combating white supremacy, racism, xenophobia, which is a global pandemic. No, so I did say it. That being said, these are the themes, seminar themes for this particular course. Now, I'm going to take this off, so you guys should see that. You should see that, but what I'm going to do right now is give you all the first chapter, which I was remiss in sending you all, which is called Booker T. Washington, Pan-Africanism and Pan-Africanists. And it was part of the book that I shared. Okay, hold on. And it was part of the book that I shared. I will let you see it so that you can recognize it. But so it's going into your WhatsApp groups right now. All right, no, that was supposed to be there. We have a lot of sections. Okay, no. Can somebody, are the readings going to the I Love Black People ambassadors and US I Love Black People, Pan-African? Can one of the administrators tell me that?
Sorry, come again?
Are the readings also going to these new groups that have been added? All right.
Yes.
Well, if they are, then somebody will tell me. So I'm going to share my screen again. And so this is the chapter you just received. I'm trying to adhere to the time frame now. Okay, so this is the chapter you should have just seen go into the group WhatsApp group. It's called Booker T. Washington, Pan-Africanism and Pan-Africanists. Okay, and we'll be reading this chapter. We should have read it last week, but it's my remiss, it's my fault. I actually attempted to send it and didn't double check to see if it was delivered. Okay, so it didn't go through and I didn't go back. That being said, hopefully you can see it now in your WhatsApp group, and I'm going to double back to make sure, because sometimes I have to actually individually send it in each group, which is, on the technical end, it's not the concern of the group. But Booker T. Washington, Pan-Africanism and Pan-Africanists. Don't get sidetracked with Booker T. Washington if you're from the United States and sort of like into this Du Bois Washington conversation. It's the entry point to the conversation around Pan-Africanism is Washington, an unlikely figure. This is you could say groundbreaking research, but it's been out there for several years. So we do know he had a role. He was one of the key organizers of the first Pan-African conference, although he did not attend. However, what this chapter does, we're not using it for the purpose of critiquing him, but for the purpose of looking at how African people at a certain moment in time in 1900 organized themselves around this new concept called Pan-Africanism. This chapter teaches you about the moment that this concept of Pan-Africanism emerges in an organized fashion, right? The moment it emerges as an organized effort in the form of the first Pan-African conference, okay? So don't get fixated on him. The focus of this reading is really to recreate that moment in history, okay, that this concept emerges. And then to show you, you know, to essentially highlight a few of the well-known Pan-Africanists of that time, okay? So it gives you a chronology, right? So it gives you all of this. So this is the precise reason why you're reading it, right? Right here. But you have to read the whole chapter to get the context, right? Prior to the first Pan-African conference, 19th and early 20th century Pan-Africanism in the US was espoused and practiced by individuals like Bishop Henry McNeill Turner, Martin Delaney, Edward Blyden, Henry Highland Garnett, and Alexander Crummell. But as early as 1829, David Walker's appeal reflected on the history of African civilizations and made a connection between those in Africa and Africans scattered abroad. His appeal not only aimed to challenge the institution of slavery, but to educate the masses on African history and culture. Pan-Africanists amongst the African population of the Caribbean included the initiator of the first Pan-African conference, Henry Sylvester William of Trinidad, Marcus Garvey's mentor, J. Robert Love, and Dr. J. Albert Thorne from Barbados. But decades prior to their emergence, the Haitian Revolution occurred and bolstered Pan-African consciousness in the diaspora as well. Haiti would produce Benito Sylvain, Antenor Furman, who met Booker T. Washington in 1897 and attended the first Pan-African conference in 1900. Out of Haiti came a wing of Pan-Africanists who created literary discourse on diasporic philosophies on Africa. The African population in Haiti produced Jean Prince Mars and Louise Joseph, who repeatedly explained that Haiti was the embodiment of the irresistible force of a united Africa. Pan-Africanism had a dialectical characteristic to it, which allowed historic events like the Haitian Revolution to produce a response and rise in consciousness amongst African people internationally. Similarly, in 1896, the Ethiopian victory over Italian imperialist forces in the Battle of Ottawa also bolstered the connection between diasporic Africans and those on the continent, I should say, of Africa. So that gives you the climate, right? The climate, what was going on around 1900 and what had happened prior to that to produce this setting where we were all on various continents in various parts of the world, but on the same page around our necessity to organize to the benefit of African people in light of our condition. Okay, so that's why you're reading this chapter. I hope you enjoy it. The chapter opens up with a very interesting quote that comes from Booker T. Washington, surprisingly, right? Because this is not the aspect of him that we know. He says in the story of the Negro, there is however, a tie which few white men can understand, which binds the American Negro to the African Negro, which unites the Black man of Brazil and the Black man of Liberia, which is constantly drawing into cultural relations all the scattered African peoples, whether they are in the old world or the new. I have rarely met in America anyone of my race who did not in one way or another show a deep interest in everything connected with Africa. The millions of Negroes in America are almost as much interested, for example, in the future of Liberia and Abyssinia, which is Ethiopia, as they are in their own country. There is always a peculiar and scarcely definable bond that binds one Black man to another Black man, whether in Africa, Jamaica, Haiti, or the United States. And so in other words, he's saying we have a shared reality, we have a bond, and we have a responsibility to fight for improvement of our condition everywhere we face white supremacy and culture. And so that's what you're going to read about in this chapter, to give you the historical fortitude to understand why you're doing the work you're doing with I Love Black People. Okay. All right. So I'm going to stop there. I'm going to stop the share. Can say a little something if you want. Oh, okay. If you want to get the book, you can go to Booker T. Washington. Can somebody, one of the administrators, post the link for the book? It's called the website for the book. The book has its own website. Is called Booker T. Washington and Africa.com, which is the website. And it's just one word, no punctuation. Booker T. Washington and Africa.com. Okay. Booker T. Washington and Africa.com. Let me see if I can put it here. Hold on. Let me see. Everyone. Okay. Booker T. Washington and Africa.com. Let's see if it does it. Yeah, okay. So, so you can get it from there. But I'm giving you the chapters. You don't have to buy the book. I'm not giving you the whole book, but I'm giving you some critical chapters in the book. I'm gonna reduce it because we don't have as much time for me to get into it, and it doesn't make sense for me to share it and not be able to deal with it. But I'm going to be giving you two important chapters, this chapter and the African exclusion measure, which is a critical policy case where Washington challenges the U.S. foreign policy, immigration policy. Just as we're dealing with, we're talking about, the whole world's talking about what's going on with Ukraine. One of the things that happened with African people is that in 1915, the U.S. Senate proposed a measure attached to the larger immigration bill that would exclude anyone of the Black or African race from coming into the United States from that point on. And it was actually Booker T. Washington who debunked that, okay? Challenged it and defeated it, challenged U.S. policy, okay? And legislators to eliminate a racist piece of legislation around immigration of African people to the United States, right? And it was all based on the fact that the laborers of the Panama Canal had been the Black and African population of the Caribbean, Central and South America. And although this rumor amongst that population goes on that US whites prefer them, the truth of the matter is they didn't. They created a whole piece of legislation to exclude anyone of Black or African race who had labored on the Panama Canal specifically and would possibly want to come and immigrate to the United States as a result afterwards. but it would have excluded all African people from the United States. And it was none other than Booker T. Washington who had the measurable power to defeat this measure in the House of Representatives, because it did in fact pass in the Senate. So I will be sharing that case. And that is why, in spite of what you have heard about Booker T. Washington, in measurable ways, he is a Pan-Africanist. Okay, he changed legislation in this country that would have kept our beloved Malcolm X's mother out of this country. It would have kept the beloved Marcus Mosiah Garvey out of this country, who immigrated just 1 year and 2 months later after the defeat of this measure, and was targeting the place he came from, Jamaica, because it was in fact the Black and the African laborers of the Caribbean, Central and South America who contributed to the building of the Panama Canal. And that was precisely who the United States had desired to keep out. So, I will be sharing that chapter, and I just shared the chapter on Pan-Africanism, how it emerges. Okay, thank you very much, Chris. Barika. Okay, yes, Chris, I said the book link, and the book, the website gives you a lot of information. Okay, William, I hope you can see that as well. All right. So everybody's asking about the book. Hi, Sarah. Okay, so I think that's about it. I'm a little off of time. I think we're like a couple of minutes over, but nonetheless, that's it for today. You should see the chapter in there. I will be in there this week. My week is a little bit different than it was last week, so we'll have more interaction around this. I'd like to hear what you all think about this particular chapter that you have, okay? It's already in your WhatsApp group, and I look forward to the discourse, okay? All right, thank you all, and I am because we are. Be safe, right?
Thank you so much, everyone. Sorry, there's an echo background. Let me mute the other phone. Yes, thank you so much for attending the Pan-African Organizing History class. We appreciate all of you. Hopefully we'll be together again next week when you're going to learn more about the Pan-African history and also the healthcare and holistic wellness. We appreciate each and every one of you. We love you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I am because in love and peace. Bye-bye.